All right. How y'all doing? Welcome back to the Say Your Piece podcast, where you roll your paper in a leaf or a paper with a crease. And you know what I'm talking about, man. I am here with the amazing Tae Poetically Devine, an educator, also a producer, filmmaker, also a poet. Are you also an entrepreneur as well, in a
I guess we
sense?
can put it that way.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
entrepreneur. uh, just a vibrant person. Just a flower to have in every space. I appreciate you for pulling up on this Juneteenth episode, and you
Thank you for
know,
having me.
yeah. How you doing
Appreciate it.
today?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's going on? Like, I like to, like I said, this is the Juneteenth episode, and I want to commemorate. I want to really commemorate that. And
Mhm.
what have you been doing for Juneteenth? Just to say a little bit and speak to it. What you got
Yeah,
going on
for
in your world?
sure. Well, first, I think we need to pay homage to the ancestors,
I
right?
say,
So when we talk about Juneteenth, we have to talk about our ancestors. And I have plenty of poems that pay homage to the ancestors. That's what I'm really all about, paying homage, honoring the past, inspiring the future. So Juneteenth means so much to me, right? So I look at Juneteenth as a time for, you know, focus on reflection,
yeah,
focus on the past,
yeah,
focus on myself,
yeah,
focus on my ancestry. I
yeah,
look at it also as a time to think about resilience, how
yeah,
resilient our people have been,
yeah,
and how resilient we are.
yeah,
And I also think about just a time for recovery, time
yeah,
for healing when I think about Juneteenth.
yeah,
So a lot of the stuff that I have going on for Juneteenth or did
yeah,
about a week ago, I did the Unity Fest. It
yeah,
wasn't considered a Juneteenth event, but it did talk about Africa and the African diaspora.
yeah.
So I was the MC for that, and it was a wonderful event in Alameda. Shout
Awesome.
out to Rhythmics Cultural Works who
Yes.
put that together and allowed me to MC on there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I have a Juneteenth event
Nice.
in Sassoon City at the waterfront. So
Ooh,
I will
okay.
be performing, doing like a 20-minute set. And I'm
Wow.
going to do a lot of my poems that do focus on ancestry. So I'm excited about that. And tomorrow's Father's Day, so I'm juiced. So my
Yeah.
dad will be there, so my family
Yeah.
will be there. So I'm really excited about that.
So you say ancestry.
Yeah.
To know, it reminds me of Sankofa in a sense with looking back, and so you can know where you're going in a forward, present, or future, right? Have you dived into your own ancestry and your family?
I did a little bit of diving, like I did the
Okay.
Ancestry DNA. I know that, I got connections in Ghana. And, it's interesting because I didn't have too much in Central Africa. I had a little
Okay.
bit, but it's interesting because I actually ended up winning a Lunda Award for one of my films that I did, which focuses on the
What?
people in Central Africa, which
What?
means they're great storytellers. So I have that in me too.
That's so dope.
So yeah, I mean, I've done a little bit of digging. I probably could do some more. I
Yeah.
really want to see if there's poets in my ancestry
Yeah.
or lineage line because I'm not sure about that. So that's
Yeah.
one of the things I really want to try to figure out.
For sure. Where are your parents from, if you don't mind me asking?
My parents are from LA.
Okay. Were they born and raised?
So they were born out there, raised most of their life out there. Then they came to the Bay Area.
Okay.
I'm originally from the Bay Area. So
Okay.
when they had, had me, they were already out here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Do you know where their parents was from?
Yeah, my dad's side came from the South, so Louisiana, like Baton Rouge,
Yep.
Port Arthur, Texas,
Yeah.
and then my mom's side, my grandmother's from the East Coast,
Yeah.
New Jersey, that kind of side. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then her mother was from Georgia.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Yeah. I asked that because it's a lot of us, especially in California, we got roots that come from the South.
absolutely.
And then we migrated up here. I remember my mom telling me my mom's side, they from Louisiana, and my dad's side from Arkansas. I remember they was coming one at a time on the bus. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but it was just like, it's that Southern. That's why we also got that twang, and we also got that, people call it twang, right? That vernacular. And that's why we resonate with people down there so much. I remember going to New Orleans, And I was just like, I went to second line. I was like, man, it's kind of like the sideshow. You feel me? Like, I was going to start going dumb out there. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Roots run deep. They run deep. We connected.
They really
Right.
do. They really do. And
Right.
that's what it is about the diaspora that I love so much. That's why I like to talk about ancestry and stuff like that, and pick people's brain and see what they know, because I feel like it's very important. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Have you always celebrated Juneteenth like how you celebrating it now before?
It's always been important to me. It's always been something that I've always recognized. I know publicly it hasn't been. I mean, now it's like everybody wants to get in on it. Like it's trendy now. Right?
Yeah.
It's cool to be down with Juneteenth. But here's the thing: I've been focused on my ancestors and that type of mindset since I was a kid. Like it has never been something that I just woke up one day. It was like, oh, I see everybody liking it now. Let me get involved.
Yeah.
I mean, just going on my childhood and just looking through who I am as a person throughout time, you'll always see that I've always honored the ancestors. So it's always been something important to me.
Yeah.
Just paying homage for where we come from, because it's important. Because it's like we wouldn't be where we're at without the folks who sacrificed before us. So my thing is all about honoring them.
Yeah.
In everything that I do.
Right.
So yeah, I've always felt connected with Juneteenth. I've always felt connected with Black History Month. I've always felt connected with my roots and with humanity as a whole, because I think a lot of times it's easy to just think about it as a Black thing, you know what I mean? But this is a humanity thing,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
We all deserve to have some sort of freedom and peace, and to you know really be respected. So that's bigger than just Black people. That's everybody deserves that. So,
Right. For sure. You know, do you have any like practices that go along with like your ancestral paying homages, like spiritual practices that you do?
I love solitude.
Okay.
And I grew to love solitude. Just to give you a little bit of like a back history of me, when I was growing up, I was such a quiet kid. I started writing when I was 8 years old. It's the first time I ever picked up a pen and started writing, and it was because I just didn't have that connection with the other little kids. Like we didn't want to talk about the same things.
Yeah.
I wanted to save the world. You know, I was thinking about
Come on now.
helping others. And I'm not saying other little kids didn't have that in them, but that wasn't the topic of conversation. They want to go, let's go do some hula hoop. Let's go, bounce a ball. And don't get me wrong, I did that too. I was still a kid.
Right.
But I just always had this sense of like, man, it's got to be more.
Yeah.
It's got to be something more to do than this. And to have that at 8 years old and not know what to do with that feeling. You know what I mean? So it was interesting for me because I always felt different. Always felt like kind of the outcast of kids. And I was quiet. So I was quiet because of that. Because I felt like when I talked, sometimes people didn't understand or kids didn't get it or, you know, so I just stayed to myself. So I grew to love solitude because that was my sanctuary. It was like, oh, well, I ain't got nobody to talk to, so let me just write down. Let me just write down some stuff. And I got to a point where I started not just journaling, but I started making poetry.
Wow.
And then I started making poetry, and then I started putting little notes under my parents' doors and stuff. Like my mom would be reading poems for me and stuff like, where'd you get this from? You know, like she thought it was really amazing. And it just kind of took on its own life from there. Me and my cousins, we used to do like little performances on the weekend for my family. So yeah, I mean, other than with my family, that was the only time I'd really like express myself. Yeah. But outside of that, I was quiet. I was a quiet kid. I was really quiet. So yeah, solitude. Solitude is my spiritual connection. I love to be alone. I like to just reflect on the day. I like to reflect on, you know, what the day looked like, what I could have done differently, you know, just impacts. I like to be alone.
I like that because I like that for myself as well because, you know, in my early 20s, I used to feel like I had to be with a gang of people. Like, I used to have to be with my boys. I used to have to be with, like, man, where y'all, what we hitting up today? We going to the club? We outside? What we doing? And then I got older and I realized, like, that was, like, you know, that was just that was a little bit of an insecurity for myself. And then I started spending time with myself. You know, I was like, you know what? It's good not having nobody else constantly in your ear talking all up in your thing, you know. But a lot of people can look at that and be like, "Oh, that's a weak person." But when you mature in the spirit, you realize that that's where the most strength comes from.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to touch on too. People don't realize that when you feel like you always got to run with a crowd. Yeah. A lot of times that's not strength. That's insecurity or that's the fact that you need somebody else probably to step in for you in certain things.
For sure.
If you can move and operate on your own, that's a different type of strength because
That
you don't
is.
need nobody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Anybody who's around you now holds purpose. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, if you just running through crowds, you know what I mean? A lot of times you're seeking validation,
Mm.
right? You're looking for somebody else to tell you something about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you reach a certain level where it's like, nah, I'm coming in here alone, solo, bolo, it don't matter. I feel good about me. You feel me? So you're not getting that outside validation. It's already in you. And it's coming from a spiritual place. It's not coming from a cocky place. It's not
Yeah.
about, oh, I think I'm better than somebody. I can just do this by myself. It's that, the spirit is moving through you. It's something
Yeah.
more spiritual that's like, you know what, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm protected, spiritually protected, divinely protected. So,
For sure.
so yeah, it's
Poetically divine.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's godly. You
It's
know what I
very
mean?
godly,
It's
yeah.
godly, and that's the grounded. That's
Yeah.
being grounded in who you are. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? For sure, for sure. Let's talk about a little bit about your films.
Yeah.
How many films do you have?
I have two. I
Okay.
have two: Ancestors, Wildest Dream, and Descendants.
You have a poem called Ancestors Wildest Dreams.
I do, because in both my films, I do poems. If you guys ever get a chance to check them out, they're on my website. They're very short films too. One of them's
Okay.
10 minutes, and the other
Okay.
one's 17 minutes. So it's not long. They're short films.
Nice, nice. Can you talk about Ancestors Wildest Dreams?
Yeah. So Ancestors Wildest Dream came about. I'm an educator, so I work for the Alameda Unified School District.
Okay.
So during Black History Month, me and my team, the Office of Equity, we were trying to figure out something we could do for Black History Month.
Gotcha.
And I was thinking, hey, why don't we do a film that highlights Black folks, people of the African diaspora, how they are the ancestors' wildest dreams. We could just ask staff to be a part of it, people in the community, whoever. Like, just let's talk about it. It started off as a Zoom meeting. Okay, so it was just gonna be a Zoom that we did.
Yeah.
Throw it out there for the people,
For
whatever.
sure.
And we did that. We actually did. But one of the women that worked at the Alameda Education Foundation, she was an executive director at the time, Vicki Sedlak, she saw the Zoom and she was like, how would you like to actually do this in an actual studio? Like, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, like, of course. I'm like, shoot. And she's like, they'll sponsor it. I'm like, for sure. Because that would have been the only crush. Like, that would have been the issue.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I ain't got the money for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just keep it real. We educators,
Yeah,
buddy.
for sure, for
We do
sure.
it all for love and out the heart. But
Exactly.
But anyway, she was like, yeah, we'll sponsor it. And I was like, awesome. So yeah, that's what happened. She ended up, sponsoring the video. She got me connected with Sean Daniels over at Castaway Creative,
Okay.
which is a studio in Alameda.
Okay.
I reached out to the folks that were on the Zoom.
Okay.
Some of them were in the actual Ancestors video, and then some of them weren't,
Okay.
which is fine. We offered it to them. But
Okay.
then some new folks came along, and they did the video. It wasn't scripted. The only thing I told them, you got about, I forget the time frame now. It was probably like 3 minutes to kind of just talk about how are you your ancestors' wildest dream, whatever you want to say. Because I don't like too much scripted stuff. Like, I want it to be
me
as
neither.
organic as possible.
Exactly.
So people just got up, talked about it, talked about
Yeah.
their lineage and where they come from, and it was really interesting. And they talked about where they're at now. All the success that they've had. And, so yeah, that's how Ancestors came about. That's how it ended up being a film.
Yeah.
So then it was such, like, people saw it and were like, wow, this is so amazing. You know what I mean? And then in the video, like I said, I actually do my poem. I am my ancestors' wildest dream poem. I do it at the start and I do it at the end.
Okay.
So I'm starting a poem in the beginning, and then all in between, people are talking about how they are their ancestors' wildest dream. And then at the end, I finish it off with the rest of my poem. So that's Ancestors. So then from there, I was like, I'm happy that we got a chance to talk about Black folks, about the African diaspora. Love that, because that's the root, right? It's always gonna be the root for me, because that's my identity, that's who I am.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm also a person that loves humanity.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I believe everybody has a story to tell. I think
For sure.
everybody, has something to say.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all have had journeys. So I was like, okay, let's make another one. We're going to call it Descendants. And the Descendants one is about people from all different types of backgrounds, all cultures, all races, telling their stories, their journeys in America or just their experiences in America. So you got folks on there, like I said, people from everywhere, Asia, people from certain parts even of, just everywhere. It's even certain people still from Africa. Like, it's still people. What's interesting, some of the people that was in the Ancestors' Wildest Dream is also in the Descendants video too.
Right.
So it's interesting because I used certain clips that I didn't use in the Ancestors video to put in the Descendants video for them. So it's a mixture of just people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, explaining what happened in their lineage and who they are as a person, and paying homage to their family. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting video. Once again, I do my poem in there to start it, and then I end it with a poem and everything in between. This is the one that actually got an award for the from Oakland International Film Festival.
That's so cool.
It was, because not only did I get selected, I was like, oh, okay, this is something different.
But
Actually,
you won.
I won. And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Because not too many people win the Oakland International Film Festival. It was such an honor.
Big.
You know, it was such an honor.
Did you see any themes that come up between both of those films that are like reoccurring themes?
In the sense of what, like now?
Just in general, like what were people saying, like touching on, like maybe from Ancestors, Wildest to the Descendants? Did you see anybody like kind of saying the same thing or having the same experiences or similar experiences?
I think the one thing that really connected both the video was the fact that people continue to persevere, right? Like it was just showing that everybody has times where things weren't going well in their family. Yeah. Some was going, with some challenges. Yeah. And I think that's the humanness of us, right? Like everybody's been through something. Yes. And then to, grow from that. So that was kind of the theme where you see like it's just people having some sort of challenges, some sort of struggles, but eventually getting to a point of where they are successful. You know what I mean? Yeah. And maybe it's not at the highest level that they could go or the highest level that their family lineage could go, but they've progressed. You see progression throughout both films, and it's a beautiful progression. Yeah. So I think if you watch the Descendants video, you'll be able to see, you can visualize the progression, because I have something in here that makes you see it. So so it's beautiful. It really is a beautiful film.
That's super dope. That's super dope. And it's also that, like, I didn't know that you won the competition, and that's
I won one of the awards. I think it was only 6 people that won the award, or 6 films, and I was one of the 6 films. And what's interesting is we ended up, so the first time I actually premiered the Descendants video, it was at Rhythmix Cultural Works in Alameda. That was the first time it ever got premiered, and I met this wonderful woman there, and she was like, this is an amazing film. And I was like, thank you, And she was like, have you ever thought about sending it off to like a film festival? And I was like, didn't cross my mind. To be real, I was like, I didn't think about that. And she was like, you should. You really should. And I sent it off to Oakland International Film Festival, and got selected and ended up winning. So I was like, wow. So yeah.
Cool. What does film mean to you though? Like, I know like film is very powerful. And what do you want to do with it? I see that you're already like using it in a way to like pay homage to your ancestors and get the voices of your community. What else do you want to do with it, and how do you see it like sculpting? That's going to be my next question. But what else do you want to do with it?
I think art just in general, whether we're talking about film, poetry, paintings, that's always been a way to connect people. So my thing is just to continue to build unity amongst people and to continue to allow people to realize how much we are alike. You know what I mean? That we have similarities. And to just get people to see each other as not just equals, but like just loving on each other. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm all about, unity. Trying to get people more connected within themselves, though, because you got to do that first. Because you can't even connect with anybody else if you haven't connected within yourself.
Exactly.
So a lot of the stuff, a lot of my poetry, a lot of my writings is about self-reflection. Because that's the foundation. You got to be able to look at yourself in the face and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, what can I do better for the world? What can I do? How can I be a difference, in a positive way? So I think if you can love on yourself, you can love on anybody else. But you got to love you first.
That's real. That's real. And that's what a lot of our, in my honest opinion, a lot of our problems that happen in our communities because our warped perception of ourselves, and then sometimes we put that energy onto other people, and then it starts to do what it's going to do.
Absolutely. And energy doesn't ever go away. It just continues to be passed along. So you push, I feel like you put out a lot of times what you get back.
Exactly.
And I don't think people realize that. It's like sometimes people think, oh man, so much is going wrong in my life. But it's like, is it really, or what you putting out into the world? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, I'm not saying, don't get it twisted, bad things can happen to wonderful people. Because that's just the way of the world, the yin and the yang. But it's like, a lot of the times people don't realize that some of these things that you're battling,
Yeah.
you didn't put on yourself because it's the
Yeah.
energy you bring out into this world.
Yep.
And it just gives it right back to you. The universe don't lie.
Yeah.
People lie. The universe don't lie.
For
Give
sure.
it back to you, you know? So
For sure.
you got to be cautious of how you move in this world. And if you move with love and sincerity and pureness,
sure.
a lot of times you're going to get that back because that's all you giving out,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's why I think it, again, going back to solitude, that's why I
Yeah.
think, again, is good to spend time with yourself and do that self-reflection, like you
Yeah.
said, through your pieces, because that's where you find out. And it's not like you nitpicking yourself, but you saying, how could I have done better in this situation?
Yeah.
Or, you know, what am I getting from this? And you taking a little jewels along the way, because, you know, I was going through like a little time in my life, and, you know, I was just worried about the destination. And then, you know, the Devine put it on my heart to say, like, nah, you need to be present. It's the now. You need to start dancing in the mirror like nobody looking.
Yeah.
Why you going on? Yeah, you going through some stuff, but everybody going through some stuff. So what you gonna do with that? You know what I mean? You got to show up every day, and you got to, you know, put that smile on your face. And it's not like you being fake, but you're gonna say, but life is a gift. It's an opportunity. You feel me? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, you know. And like I said, and like you said, it is found in solitude. People don't realize that. It's crazy because I feel like a lot of times people don't even like to be alone, period.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They
It's
can't
hard.
even be by themselves.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm talking like they got to have somebody next to them
Yep.
at all times to
Yep.
feel important and valued.
Yep.
But that's the issue. That's
Yep.
the issue. You learn your own self-worth by being alone. That's the
Exactly.
key. That's what
Yep.
people don't get. It's like you have to spend time with yourself.
Yep.
That's the only way you can really even get to know yourself. That's why people be lost. It's like you don't know who you are because you don't spend enough time with yourself. You're so busy taking in everybody else's opinions of yourself or the world or whatever. You ain't never sat down and been like, you know what? What do I think?
Yep.
How do I view the world? How do I see myself? How do I really operate? And it's not about, like you said, it's not about just seeing your flaws. It's also about seeing your strengths.
Yeah.
Right? When you do a self-evaluation, it shouldn't just be, I'm not telling people sit there and just beat themselves up.
Yeah,
like, oh, man, I messed
yeah.
up today. And look at
Yeah,
my hair.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
like, it ain't
yeah,
on
yeah.
no stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's more so just really just seeing your full self, seeing you wholly, you know? And a lot of people don't want to see themselves wholly because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of it. They're afraid of the shadows, right? It's like they can see themselves in all these bright lights like, oh, well, I do this good and I do that well.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you do?
Yeah.
What's your flaws? You know?
I think too, in this day and age, because we just worried about outside validation,
Yeah.
external validation
Absolutely.
for our job to give us a raise and a promotion, which would be nice, but you know, or for our partner to say, give us compliments, or for us to get claps and applause and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? Like that means nothing. What happens when that's shut down? What
Right.
happens when you don't have that?
Exactly.
Are you just gonna go into a cave, curl up, and just not talk to anybody? You know, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be your best friend.
Absolutely.
You know?
Because then you start talking about the mental health aspect of it, right?
Oh,
Because
for
it's like
sure.
if you out there are constantly seeking validation and you constantly need somebody to make you feel good about yourself,
Yeah.
when that's not happening, what is happening with you then?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when I think you can start getting into the people start getting depressed. and,
Yeah.
Oh, they don't know what to do with their lives no more.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, but if you had your own
Yeah.
inner, like, validation, you wouldn't be going through that.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
go through those things. It's not saying that it's not real. You know what I mean? You could fall down on your luck and you could feel depressed, but you get up quicker when it's not coming from the outside world. When it's
Come on
coming
now.
just from you, it's like, oh man, it's tough. But I'm gonna get it together.
And you let people control you.
Yeah,
You let the world
exactly,
control you. You don't want to
exactly.
be. You want to be. You know, you want to be in full control of who you are at all times, and
Yeah.
you don't want to be swayed by different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think growing up, one of the best things that my parents really instilled in me was like, have your own mind. Have your own mind.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? And love on yourself.
For sure.
And you know, just see yourself in a light. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think with that, just being young, having that type of morals and values instilled in me, it created who I am today. Because I've always, since I was a kid, I always had a mind of my own. I always felt like, okay, well, I'm not going to just do something because somebody else did it, or I'm not going to just say I like something because somebody else like it.
Right.
So a lot of times I was quiet. That's
Yeah,
where even the quiet
right.
because it was like, nah, I ain't fooling with that. So I ain't got nothing to say about it because I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
But it's much tougher when you're young. You know, it's so much
Yeah.
easier, obviously, to navigate the world when you're older. But being a kid, it was tough.
Yeah.
Especially being the kind of kid that I was.
Yeah.
It was tough being a kid. it. I really didn't kick it with many people.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
had a real small circle. I hang out like 2 or 3 girls. Even that.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
I'd rather just go solo and just
Yeah.
be kicking it by myself. So it's like it was at the time. It was a lonely time because I was so young, and then it grew into a beautiful thing of solitude. It took time though, you know. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad you had that, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you able to look back on your journey and just really realize like that was needed.
Yeah.
Because nobody tell you being yourself come with all of these other challenges, right?
Yeah.
People talking about you, people
Yep.
making assumptions about you that's not even true, but you just really just living your life.
Yeah, just
Being
being myself,
peaceful.
right? Just
Yeah,
being
man.
myself. And that's tough to do in high school. That's tough to do in school. K through
Yeah.
12 is tough, man.
Yeah.
Especially when you are authentic and you are just being yourself. Because like you said, there's these labels. Oh, you think you're too good, or you suck
Yeah.
up, or you know, all these things. It's like, I'm none of that.
Yeah,
I'm hella
yeah.
chill. Like
Yeah,
if you
for
talk
sure.
to me, but it's like I'm not about to play these games where I'm gonna act like I'm into things that I'm not into for you. Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that to my own self. Like I have
Yeah.
enough self-worth to be like, nah,
Yeah.
I'd rather just not even fool with it.
I see that being really challenging in this day and age too, to be yourself. And I'm raising 2 kids, and they're younger, but because of like social media, and
a
you
whole
know,
nother world.
yeah, it's a whole nother world because you're influenced. Even we seeing adults in their 40s and their 50s being
Right.
influenced by social media and their thought process and different things, and it's just like I'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like how do we navigate through this, because this is another beast that we not even thinking about.
It
know?
is because we had a little bit of social media when I was growing up. Like, this is MySpace,
MySpace, Facebook,
right,
Facebook. If you was in college, you know what I
right,
mean? Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then obviously we got involved in
Yeah.
Instagram, but
Yeah.
but it was nothing to the magnitude it is now.
Nothing
It's
to that.
wild, like
Nothing.
And it just, to me, it kind of takes away from like kids even being able to socialize in person. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
they just want to scroll, they just want to text, they just want to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like just have that type of,
Yep.
just that tech kind of
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
And to me, it takes away from the humanity of
Yeah,
it sometimes,
yeah.
you know, because it's like you need to be able to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
You need to be able to hold a conversation without a phone in your hand.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think some kids can't do that right now
Yeah.
because they're so stuck on their phones. And don't get me wrong, social media is a good thing too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everything has its pros and cons. There's good in it because there is messages that can get out that are great, that need to be out, that
Yeah.
can reach far and beyond.
Yeah.
But then there's also some messages that's like, woof,
Yeah.
that's going out to people.
Yeah.
And kids is reading that and believing that. So it's like I said, it has its pros and cons. I think the
Right.
best thing as parents can do is just really just focus on what are your kids watching, what are they
Right.
doing, and you may not always be able to be there.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have conversations with your kids because that's
Right.
one of the things I cherished growing up. My parents used to sit down with me and lecture me for hours and talk to me.
Oh, for sure.
But it wasn't just lectures. They let me have my voice too.
Mm.
It almost was like a respectful debate. You feel me? Because
right,
obviously I'm not
right.
about to get crazy with my parents.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
let me have a voice.
They let you
so
say
they let me
something.
say something. They
Yeah.
wanted to hear what I had to say.
Yeah.
And because it mattered to them what I had
Yeah.
to say. And it's a beauty in that because I think letting your kids, you get to know them too better. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's how they mind work? That's what
Yeah.
they're thinking about? And you can guide them better, you know?
And that's powerful
Yeah.
because kids do have something to say. My dad always say, like, you can learn from a baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, you can learn from everywhere. And you know, although he didn't always let me have my voice at every moment, but I got what he was saying.
Right,
I
right.
got that he was saying, like, you know, you are important, young, old, whatever you are,
Yeah.
that you are important. And that just brings me to this. What was your if you had any, what was your rites of passage in life, and what did that look like? Maybe from young adult to womanhood, or you know, teenager. What was that rites of passage? Do you remember?
Kind of explain to me a little more. Like, what do you mean by rites of passage? What do you mean by
Okay,
that?
so mine, I
Yeah, let
did
me
it
hear
on.
yours.
I did it on the last. I did it on the last podcast, but I say it again. So I said my rites of passage was, and unfortunately for a black man, if you just pull up the statistics, we are victims of violence, and I was shot. But because I was shot, it kind of, you know, like I was down on myself for that, and I didn't know who I was. I was just very conflicted. I was scared. I had a lot of anxiety. I was mistrust. I had a lot of mistrust in my life. But that propelled me. I either could have just curled up into a ball, or I can get up, put my chin up, and keep on living life. And that's what I decided to do. And I say that because that was my turning point, because I never thought that would happen to me, and especially the way that it happened to me. Another black man did it. So I'm kind of like, you know, I'm watching Tupac Resurrection, and I'm feeling everything he's saying. When he got shot, he like, man, and a black man shot me. I never think that. And I never think that because how I feel about myself and how I feel about black people, and how I feel love, and my love is just so deep for them, us. So that was my rites of passage. And a lot of us have that rites of passage, and it doesn't always have to be negative, but I want to see yours. What was that turning point?
I think for me, I had a lot of moments just in my life where it was like, you know, keep going. I don't know if I can just pinpoint one, but I started young. Like, I think even the fact of just being a kid and feeling outcast, you know, that was a start, right? Like, that's hard to do. Like, to feel like, you know, nobody understands me. You know what I mean? I don't fit in. And talking to 8, 9 years old, I just don't fit nowhere. So that was hard. You know what I mean? But I kept going. And then even in the teen years, same thing. It was awkward. You know, I just didn't fit in. So I kept going. I'd say, you know, as an adult, just finding ways to deal with stress in a healthier way. You know, I did like to drink a lot of wine a lot of the times, and drink like, you know, just drinks here and there. But I started to realize it was too much. So when I start feeling like, okay, I'm drinking too much, what is this about? And I do my spiritual cleanse. You know, that's one of the things that I love to do. I'll do a fast because I always believe that, you know, you starve the flesh and you can feed the spirit. So I do fast. That's one of the things that I do. And I think that was a huge turning point for me. To when I started fasting, I was like, you know what? I got to get disciplined in this. I got to get disciplined, because what I don't want is anything to ever feel like it rules me. You know what I mean? Especially something negative. Like, I'm not trying to have anything going on crazy with the drinking. You know what I mean? So I was like, I had to pull myself back. I was like, whoa. You're drinking too much. So that was one of the things. So doing the spiritual cleanse, fasting, definitely was one of those things where I was like, okay, this is a moment where it's like I'm awakening, and I'm disciplined. So that's one of the things.
Excellent. And also just kind of veggie back off of that again. It's just like when you ever seen Roots, right?
Yes, but I think when I saw it, I was young when I saw it, so I don't remember all of it.
They
but I know
used to make us watch that for like 3 weeks. It was just crazy. Like the indoctrination is ridiculous when it comes to Roots. But it was a part with Kunta Kinte before they left Africa. He had to get a drum, and he had to find like they had to like kill a wild hog or something, I believe, so they could make the part of the drum where you beat on.
It was like for sacrifice?
It wasn't a sacrifice. Well, you might be sacrificing your old self so you can have your new self. But it was an initiation into manhood. All the men had to do it in the village when they turned 16. And I say that to say I want to bring everybody up here, especially our black folks, because I believe we need more positive rites of passage for our people. The initiation into adulthood. Because like I shared with you, mine was very violent, and it was negative, but it eventually turned into a positive, right? And I'm not saying everybody's story is going to be the same, but I'm saying like having rites of passage for our young people, so they are not taking the abuse and the traumas and holding that with them, but having something that really puts them through some type of mental, emotional fortitude, so they know when I go into another threshold of life, I'll be better. I'll be more prepared for that situation.
Well, I think that's where it kind of go back into doing the inner work, right? Like that solitude, learning yourself. I try to instill that in kids that I mentor, like, you know, learn yourself. Love yourself, because I think when you love yourself, it keeps you from out of a lot of situations, that you don't have to come across. I tell the kids all the time, you ain't got to experience everything to know it's gonna be terrible. I'm telling you, like, I lived a lot of life. I done seen a lot of people go down certain roads, and here's the thing: sometimes when you're young, people think they're invisible. They don't think that ain't gonna happen to me. This stuff, that's just other people. No. I tell them it could happen to you. It can happen to anybody. You human.
yeah.
So I think just once, like I said, I think that goes back to just having that self-love.
Yeah.
Because when you love yourself, there's certain situations you're not going to put yourself in. You're going to have self-worth. And you're going to also be able to see the world in a different way. You know what I mean? Because you're not seeing it through the eyes of validation. You're seeing it through the eyes of yourself.
Yeah.
So things are more real. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
see things for what they are. Like it ain't going to take you, it shouldn't take you, so many times for somebody to keep showing you a red flag.
Yeah.
And you just keep ignoring it.
Yeah.
But you see it though.
Yeah.
You see it now because you're not seeking the validation. You're seeing people for who they are because you know who you are. So you're seeing people in their realness too.
Right.
A lot of times people, I feel like, see people, they see what they want to see in people because they don't know themselves. So people are easily fooled and tricked by people because it's like, oh, well, he seemed or she seemed that way. Did they really? Or you just don't know you. So when you know you pick up on everything. It's the vibration is different. The energy is different because you're operating at a different level.
Yeah.
So.
That just sparked another thought in my mind, like perception.
Yeah.
Right. Your perception is based upon a lot of times where you at, what you doing, and what you believe. Right. So people, and I always use the analogy of reading a book. You can read the same book, and people get like a totally different perspective out of that book than you got out of that book, and that's how people see a life because they can look at you and be like, da 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 da, and then I can look at you and I was like, oh, that's different. You know what
Perception
I mean?
is everything.
It's everything.
It is everything.
and it's really about like your mind. You know, your soul.
Yeah.
Like what's going on in here to make you
Yes.
project those other things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from upbringing. It comes from environment. It comes from what you've been around. It comes from
Yeah.
What you know. You only
Yeah.
know what you know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like as life continues to go on, you experience new things, you might have a different perception. And honestly, I hope you do because I feel like
Yeah.
we need to evolve as people.
Come on
You know what
now.
I mean? You shouldn't ever just have one mindset.
Yeah.
Over time, you're supposed to grow. That's that's what I feel like is the purpose of life too. It's like you're supposed to grow as a person.
Right.
You're supposed to evolve. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
for some people, they do not.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people are just existing.
Yeah.
They're not living. They're not growing. They're just here.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. So my thing is, I think through my art, I'm trying to awaken. I want people to realize you're not just here. You have a purpose too. We all do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
So it's much bigger than us, and it's on you to figure that out.
Right.
And the way to do that is by doing the inner work. You have to do
Right.
the inner work, or you won't ever know what your purpose is. So
You think people don't do the inner work because it's scary?
yeah,
You think that because they're
Fear.
running from it, fear?
I think it's fear.
I think it's fear. Even the people that just like seem like the strongest people, they ain't scared of nothing. And
They're not scared of nothing in the world.
Come
What
on
about
now.
the spiritual world?
Come on, come on,
We
talk.
talking about materialistic world? Or we talking about
No, you go there. You
no,
just
that's what
went
I'm
there.
saying. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
people can come off like they're not afraid of what's going on a daily day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff. But when you start talking about from a spiritual standpoint, you talk about
Yeah.
something different. That's scary for people.
Yeah.
They don't want to see things that they necessarily can't touch and grab. You know what I mean? They don't want to operate in that world.
Yeah.
It's scary because, like I said, it takes a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of doing the shadow work of knowing
Yeah.
who you truly are
Yeah.
in your best light and in some of your darkest days. So people are afraid of that because a lot of times people are putting on facades. They're putting
Yeah.
on, oh, I'm great, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're constantly living in that,
Yeah.
you definitely don't want to come on the other side and figure out what's really real. People fear the truth
Right.
more than anything else. That's scary for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. People are afraid to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We're afraid to be uncomfortable. And when I say people, I include myself,
Oh,
y'all.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'm still working to address in my life, but I want to be at a level where I embrace discomfort sometimes. Not purposely putting myself in discomfort,
Right.
but saying that this is the natural process of life, and especially
Absolutely.
going through new things, that you're going to be a novice at a lot of things. You know what I mean? When I became a father, up until that, everything I just was like, I'll go head on, and I was pretty good at a lot of things. But you can't prepare yourself to be a father or a parent in general, right? So, and that goes for a lot of other things. People are scared to be uncomfortable.
And that is the issue. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Because nothing grows in comfort. You can only grow being uncomfortable.
That's real.
Nothing grows if something not new is happening. And usually something new happening is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you haven't experienced it before. So it's
Yeah.
like, ooh, okay, what's this about to be like?
Yeah.
But that's where the faith comes in, and you got to be grounded, because it's like,
Yeah.
whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
hopefully I grow from it. And it's about seeing,
Yeah.
you know, anything that goes, possibly could be a challenge, anything that could go wrong. You got to see it as a lesson. What can I learn from it?
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it like, man, I'm a failure, or I don't, you
Yeah.
know, don't look at it like that. Look at it like, okay, what was I supposed to get from that? Because you can get and learn lessons from anything.
Yeah.
So I think if people thought of things that way, it'd be a lot better for them. But a lot of people just fearful, you know. They don't want to see anything if it brings discomfort.
Yeah.
So
What do you do when you are like embarking on a new situation, or you going through a new threshold in life or something like that, and it's kind of scary? What are some of the things that you do to kind of like keep yourself on point, or tell yourself it's okay, or like what are some of the things that kind of like put you over that hump, if anything?
I like to meditate.
Okay.
I like to, once again, I go to solitude. I reach within.
Yeah.
If anything, I start to feel like if it's the outer world that's making me feel some sort of way, I go in. I don't go out.
Yeah.
I'm like, if that's what's bringing that feeling, I'm going to go inside.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, I'll meditate. I'll make sure that I'm like eating all organic food. Like I do
that's
a
real.
cleanse.
Yeah.
I try to just keep it as pure as possible within myself when I'm starting to feel those things, because I know that's coming from the outer world. I know that's coming from like a sense of the flesh of me, right? Because I'm just as human as anybody else. It's just that I don't allow my flesh to control me. So it's like I get disciplined in the spirit world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's deep. I love meditation too, and just preparation. You feel me? Yeah. The spiritual world is gangster. I'm telling y'all, man. Like that, it ain't nothing to play with. It ain't nothing to play with, especially when you really tapped in. And some people don't know they tapped in, but they really tapped in. But what you said reminded me of a Bruce Lee quote.
What's that one?
And he's one of my favorite philosophers. Bruce Lee said, "If you have all the answers, all you have to do is look within." All you have to do is look within.
Yeah.
We go to read a book. Yeah, we're going to read that book. We're going to get some points. We're going to probably write some stuff down. But we still got to meditate on them thoughts. How does that pertain to your life? And what are you doing? What are you doing with that? Because you got to apply that.
Exactly.
And, Huey Newton used to call it observation participation. You know, when the Black Panthers was out there, they would bring new Black Panthers on the thing, and they would be new, and they have to observe, and then they participate and put it into practice.
Yeah.
So you can keep doing it and reinforcing it to your mind so you can adapt.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important, like, you know, praying and you know, meditating, all those things are beautiful things, but you also got to have action behind everything you do. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times it's easy to just be like, you know, wanting something from the higher being, praying for things from the higher being, but what are you doing to get that? You know what I mean? Like, because you still got to do the work. Like, nothing's just going to fall in your lap just because you prayed for it. You know what I mean? You got to do some work. And like I said, it always stems back to me of doing the inner work. And I think when you move with integrity and when you move with pureness, good things happen. Good things happen for you.
And that's real, and I think that's where manifestation comes from.
Absolutely.
And we all want to manifest, and a lot of times when we manifest, like, I think sometimes, you know, I can't speak for everybody. We want to manifest the wrong things, and it's like, oh, I want $1 million, but you know, that's energy too, but that's energy in a material sense. What are you doing in a spiritual sense? What are you getting? What are you giving up? Because a lot of times you have to give up something, right? And once you give it up, and then you going within yourself, you going within them prayers, and you giving up those worldly things, or even if it's thoughts and ideas, now you are gaining, now you're being receptive for the Most High. Now the Most High is putting stuff in front of you. Now you got a whole buffet of stuff that's available to you, because you have tapped in, and the Most High can use you the way that the Most High wants to use you.
Yeah, you need to. I always value people, not money. You know what I mean? That's my thing. It's like I never care about money in that sense, and I've never prayed for money, ever.
Come on now.
So it's like my prayers come from something much deeper and different. I pray for humanity. I pray for souls. You know what I mean? Because I think when we think about money, that's just materialistic. It's nothing we can do with that. We can't take it with us. You know what I mean? And we look back on all the atrocities that money has caused. And people
Idolatry,
have
that's
done
false
things,
idolatry too.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the things that's happened
yeah.
over money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't pray for that.
That was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn.
Yeah.
Not even just money. It was like something going on with school, but it was revolving around money, and I needed a certain thing. But the jewel that I took out of it was patience.
Yeah.
I needed that patience.
Yeah.
And you know, and a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
And if you lack patience, you know what that can do for you in your life?
It causes a lot of challenges.
It causes a lot of challenges.
Because you're too quick to fly off the handle. You don't have no patience.
Exactly.
And so much beauty comes in patience. You know, you got to have patience.
Yes.
Because nothing good, to me, everything beautiful happens over time. If it's coming too quickly, it's probably not going to last very long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it seems like a beautiful thing in the moment, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of going back to that instant gratification, right? People
on
want
now.
that.
Yeah.
But it's like, with that,
Yeah.
it doesn't last.
Yeah.
It's instant and it's over.
For sure.
But if you take something and you have patience with it, it lasts a long time because you took your time with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is time really?
Right. Well, it's an illusion.
Yeah, it is an illusion.
but it's precious too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's of the essence. So
Yeah.
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 It's complex.
Yeah.
Time is complex.
It is complex. Yeah, definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we touched on it, but you know, we can say it again. This is the Say Your Piece podcast. And the way how much time I got? Gotcha. All right, this is the Say Your Piece podcast, and we like to do it like this here, and what gives you peace in this world? You know, whether it's big or small. I know you said solitude. However, is there other things that give you peace?
Knowing I'm making a difference, that I have a meaningful career, working with the youth gives me peace. They challenging at times. I work with middle schoolers, so they be wild, y'all.
Yeah.
But you know those moments where they're like, you know, Miss Shantae, what you said to me really stuck with me. You know what I mean? Or they come, you know, give me a hug and tell me how their day was, and you know, feeling like they have somebody to talk to and to support them, and trustworthy adult on campus. Those moments give me peace. It reminds me why I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So just getting that reassurance that I'm making a difference in the youth's lives and in other people's lives, and just by, you know, just being pure-hearted and showing love and you know, wanting to see people do well, genuinely wanting to see people do well. And I think that brings me peace, even on my toughest days, even when it's hard, you know, because I'm not going to sit there and act like every day is rainbows and butterflies, you know what I mean? But I think every day I find something worth cherishing, and I think that's how I stay grounded too. Because I always have, before I go to sleep every night, it's like, okay, what's something good that happened today?
Right.
You know,
Right.
let me reminisce on that. You know what I mean? So just keeping a positive mindset. So when I do go out, you know, when I'm amongst people, that I'm bringing that energy, because energy is everything to me. So, and I take on a lot of energy. So a lot of times that's another reason why I like solitude, because when I'm out in public, like the energy, you know, I'm taking on everybody's energy. I feel for people. I'm very empathetic, so it's a lot sometimes. So yeah, just making sure that when I am out, that I'm right, because I know that there's going to be a lot of people that's not doing well. It's going to be a lot of people that's going through some things and probably looking to lean on somebody that's you know, that's strong in that sense. So that brings me peace. Just making sure that I'm doing my part in this world while I'm here. So
I like that. Because that's so important. I love that. Is there anything you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
I just to people watching, I just want everybody to really, like I said, do the inner work. It's so important. Please do the inner work, because loving on yourself, I'm telling you, will help you love on other people. And don't seek outside validation. Everything you need is already within you. You're important. You matter. Like I said, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. You're here for a purpose, so it's on you to figure out what that purpose is. So I want to leave them with that, and just know that you can make a difference.
For sure.
We all can.
For sure.
And I hope we all doing it for the better. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank y'all here at the Oakland Podcast Studios. This is Say Your Piece, man. Shout out to the Oakland Podcast Studios.
Thank you.
Y'all always are here for the artists and the community. So it's much respect. Thank you to Tae Poetically Devine for stopping by
Thank you for
and
having
just
me.
dropping her knowledge and her expertise and her experience and everything that she is about resonating in the community. And we see why she is so loved throughout our spaces because the reciprocation of love that she shows. And it's just definitely a reflection. Yeah, and to say your piece, we hope to have you back. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
definitely.
Maybe some poetry next time. I was talking to my
Yeah.
boy Alex right here, man. We trying to get some. We
I
trying to do
got
some
you. I
big
got
things,
you.
man. You know what I mean? Like, but for the first sit down, I just like to sit down and talk to people. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I just like to chop it up. And the reason why I do this podcast, I don't do this podcast for notoriety. I do it for the community. I do it for us as artists. So we have a space to share who we really are. I know a lot of times we go to open mics and we frequent open mics, and sometimes it's a lot of busy and we can't really get to sit down and talk to each other. But this is a way for us to, build and break bread and get to know each other as not just artists, but as people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
So.
really appreciate y'all having me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes, thank
You
you,
know what I mean?
Alex.
Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, we going to sign out. I ain't going to talk too much more. I'm Swerve, man. I'm the host of the Say Your Peace podcast, man. Check this out. This coming out Friday. You feel me? So thank y'all.